This past week was a memorable one for Sports Zone 50 as we made it to the big time ESPN style.
Yeah, baby.
We'll show you how we did. And Kirk Herbstreit and Lee Corso picked the Florida Gators over the Cats. Coming up, we'll show you the highlights. And how did Andre Woodson look against Tim Tebow? And how would the women's volleyball team respond after a big upset win last week over LSU? And could UK complete the fall sweep of LSU as the women's soccer team? Could they get a win over the Tigers? Get your Gator stew ready because Sports Zone 50 starts right now.
You ready? Let's go! 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
Welcome in everybody to Sports Zone 50, your only student sports authority. Ryan Mollenkoff alongside here with Justin Stewart. Justin, what a wild week it's been on this campus. We have been on ESPN, we didn't do half bad. And also we had College Game Day come in, and what a big deal that was at Commonwealth Stadium. And definitely give the Cats the attention they deserve.
It was number 14 Florida coming into the Commonwealth Stadium, taking on the number 8 Kentucky team. And based on the rankings, you'd think that, Florida was the underdog, but obviously that was not true. Everybody except for my mom was picking Florida to win. And just a side note, Florida had 2 weeks to prepare for this game.
Andre Woodson finds Dickey Lyons. Dickey Lyons into the end zone. UK goes up 7-0. And then we skip ahead to this point. Game tied 7-7. Tim Tebow throws a pass up for Lewis Murphy. He gets deep open. Florida up 14-7. Then it's Tim Tebow with a dump pass over the middle to Aaron Hernandez. That was nasty. Florida goes up big. Andre Woodson finds Dickey Lyons again here. Lyons had 3 touchdowns in this game, but it was not enough as Florida defeats UK.
And after the UK loss, the Cats moved down to 14 in the AP poll and 15 in the coaches poll. Well, we only go down to 14 in the BCS poll, which still leaves us some elbow room to work our way out and keep our BCS bowl hopes alive.
And for the post game, we go to Justin on the field. Justin, how was that locker room after that tough loss for Kentucky?
Wildcats came out strong with a quick 7 points in the beginning of the game. However, the Florida Gators took control and dominated the rest of the first half, never looked back, and controlled the rest of the game.
Florida is obviously a very good team. I thought we competed tonight, but we didn't always execute as well as we needed to. When we got behind, it kind of negated us attempting to run the ball as much as we would like to have run it.
It's difficult. It's difficult to swallow right now, but same point, we're still in a very good situation. We're still 6-2. Nobody thought we'd be here right now, so I think the guys got to do a great job of just continue to keep their heads up, work hard, forget about this game. By tomorrow, we really got focusing on Mississippi State.
And next week's a big week for homecoming and Mississippi State. Big game for the Wildcats. Until then, Commonwealth Stadium and Sports Zone 50, I'm Justin Keene.
If you look at this game, Kentucky really didn't have a chance going in. I mean, Florida had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Kentucky just bumps and bruises all over that LSU game. Such a tough, just like we said when LSU played that game against Florida, very emotional. They had no chance against Kentucky. Well, they had a chance, but whenever it comes to wins and losses, they didn't have a chance. And it was the same thing for Kentucky this week, bumps and bruises. I mean, Florida had 2 weeks to prepare this game. It wasn't even close, Justin.
Absolutely, and I kind of accredit this loss to 3 contributing factors. After the game was over, I kind of took some time to think about why we lost and what we can do to improve. First reason, offensive line didn't do that good of a job holding up against Florida's front big men. Andre was sacked, I think, for a total of 9 times during the game. It was something to that degree. It was a bunch. It was a handful. The second reason was because of our pass defense. Obviously, we're not the best pass defensive team in the nation, and if we were good, the reason was because we haven't really played too many teams that were as strong as Florida's pass offense. So the corners had a little trouble with pretty much every play that was ran was a Tebow play action fake. So I think it caught our corners up and had them sink down a little bit and ended up Tebow throw it right over the top. Third contributing factor that I think during this game was the fact that our men were beaten up. We just weren't penetrating the line. We weren't containing Tim Tebow. Of course, I don't think any team has been successful in containing Tim Tebow this year, unfortunately. But those are 3 main reasons I think that we lost that game. Kentucky had the offensive talent. But we had a couple of calls during the game that were a little risky. I think would have been huge reward, but now we look back on them was kind of bad. The onside kick early on in the game, we were literally 1 inch from having that ball.
Yeah, very tough, and that would have swung the game around.
Absolutely.
And you look at that and you say, Tim Tebow's going to score every play. You almost got to look at that and you got to think that he's going to score about 50% of the time he touches the ball.
Right. And
so why don't you do a little offsides every time? Give yourself a little. I don't know. That's not a really good game plan. But I did notice Rich Brooks going for 4th down a lot, kind of like Les Miles, kind of risky. I like seeing that. I like seeing Rich Brooks taking those chances.
I agree with you. I mean, it's great to see Coach Brooks. You can tell he's comfortable with his team. You can tell that he's at a point now where he's like, I have confidence in my guys that they can get things done. And that's really what it came down to. Rich Brooks made some calls we've never seen Rich make before. And Coach Brooks is not a guy known to take risky calls like that. So to see him go for the onside kick and to see him go for the 4th down plays and instead of kicking the field goal, going for the touchdowns, they were great for our team. But unfortunately, we weren't productive in all of them. And in the end, Florida, I think I counted it, didn't score in only 2 drives.
Well, if you break this, you look at this game, you kind of come back down to earth and you say, tough loss for Kentucky. But you got to look, Kentucky's still in the top 25. They're in the top 15. And you look at this and you say, this SEC East is wide open.
Still's wide open.
Wide open.
Absolutely. You look at and like you said, it's wide open. Kentucky fans, don't get down on your team. I mean, if you look at it, years past, we haven't even been as close as we have been in years. We beat a number 1 team for the first time in years. Most of us weren't even born when it happened. And secondly, Kentucky still has a chance. This SEC East is wide open. If some things happen in our favor and we win out, I really do think we have the chance to win this SEC East. Also, you have to look at the fact that Urban Meyer is 22-2 coming in to games where he's had more than a week to prepare.
Yeah.
So the statistics were in Florida's favor. Kentucky is new at this. I mean, we had the team to do it. A couple of things didn't go our way. I think the referees were way too lenient in this game. Too many calls went against Kentucky in their own home court. Obviously, things just didn't go in Kentucky's favor, but they still have an awesome team, and I still think this team is going to continue to impress us.
Yeah, they could easily go 10-2. That schedule is not tough at all. I mean, the only thing you got in there, you got a few bumps. You got Georgia, you got Tennessee. We're hoping Tennessee gives us a little help. If they defeat South Carolina, that knocks South Carolina pretty much out of the race with three losses.
And lost to an unranked team. We've only had losses to 2 ranked teams.
And maybe we can also get some help from Georgia. Georgia takes down Florida. It's between us and Tennessee, and you got that game later on the schedule.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
That's going to be a fun game.
Keep an eye on it, guys. All right. Moving on.
Moving on, it was the women's soccer team now. Moving on to women's soccer now. It was UK and LSU and Kentucky looking for the sweep of LSU so far this year, but it was not to be in this game as this one ended in a 1-1 tie. The women return home for their the last home game of the season, October 28th, 1 o'clock at the soccer complex.
It was a women's volleyball team in Starkville this past Sunday taking on Mississippi State. And they defeated Mississippi State, which I hope we do too this week, 3-1. And the match scores were 30-25, 32-30, 23-30, and 30-25. And the women's volleyball team returns home Friday, October 26th at 7:30. Make sure you go out there and support your Lady Cats.
The UK men's tennis team in Georgia taking part in the Southern Intercollegiate Tournament, and in their fourth match together, the Kentucky men's double team of Bruno Agostinelli and freshman Brad Cox, they battled to defeat the top doubles pair in the quarterfinals of the Wilson ITA Southeast Indoor Regional on Sunday. The UK men's tennis team is in Athens the rest of the week participating in the tournament. Middle shot. And Justin, give the Sports Zone 50 faithful something to do this week besides watching us over and over on Channel 50.
You guys by now should already know we're on YouTube and Facebook and everywhere else. And we've always been on ESPN, so anyways. Ron, I'm going to have to say get out there this weekend and participate in Homecoming Week. It only happens once a year, so live it up and also head out to Keeneland for the last day of Keeneland for 5 months. So take the opportunity to get out there. And also it's family weekend here on UK's campus, so make sure you get out, call mom and dad, call the siblings, get them out here for a good time. Go down to Keeneland, go watch our Cats win a homecoming game against Mississippi State and move that much closer to a BCS title game, knock on wood.
Hopefully. And I'll also take the parents out to Keeneland. This is the first time Keeneland's doing a little special thing called See Blue this Friday. And this entire weekend is kind of college week. So That's time to get out there, get out to the track, make a few bets. Well, for all of us here at Sports Zone 50, until next time, everybody, I'm Ryan Mollenkoff.
Justin Stewart.
As always, remember, go to class, use a designated driver,
And always bleed blue.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.